Welcome back to the channel, folks. So today we are looking at the MCKINNON PolarPro variable ND filter version 2, the 2 to 5 stop filter. We're going to have a bit of a mini review on it, see how I have found it, how I've got on with it over the last few weeks to help you guys if you want to decide to buy this thing or not. So let's get into it. So the main reason why I bought this filter is because in them 1 or 2 days a year in the UK where we get really nice weather, where the sun's shining, I'm having to shoot at a really high f number, which means that everything's in focus in the shot when you're shooting at f16, f18. So with this filter now, it's basically like putting sunglasses onto your lens. You can darken what's coming through into the lens and into the sensor, and that means that I can reduce my f number and keep my shutter speed where I want it when I'm shooting at 24 frames per second, which will mean that the main subject of my videos are nice and crisply in focus and everything behind them is out of focus, so all your attention is where I want it to be. Whereas if at them higher f numbers of f16, f18, everything in the shot is fully in focus and it can be quite distracting at times. So I think this is going to really help with not only the quality of my videos, but really telling the story and getting them dramatic shots of individuals, especially if I want them to go into short films, that kind of thing. So with this being a variable ND filter, it is really flexible when shooting outside, because if the sun does dip in behind a cloud and suddenly goes really dark, I can just spin the ring on it and I'll be able to let more light in and then adjust my settings accordingly, which is really handy. Whereas if this was a fixed ND filter, I'd have to unscrew it off the lens, go into a bag, get a new filter and bang it on. And in that time, the scene might change back to being sunny again, and it's just an absolute nightmare. So with this, got 2 to 5 stops of range, and that's more than enough for me for what I'm shooting at the moment. And that's why I went for the 2 to 5 stop over the 6 to 9 stop filter, because with what I'm shooting at the moment, that 2 to 5 range is perfect for me in the minute. I don't need to get my f number really, really low when I'm shooting outside with fast moving video and that kind of thing. So I want to make sure that everything's in focus and there's no focus breathing shooting at them low f numbers. So onto the filter itself and the case that it comes in. So straight out of the box, this is what it looks like. And I really like the way that PolarPro designed this, and obviously MCKINNON, they're not idiots, they know what they're doing. So you don't actually touch the filter, which is great. So you're not going to get smudges, you're not going to get fingerprints all over it because of the way they've designed this case. So what you do is you unscrew the bottom of the filter, and there's the filter there with the lens cap on the other side. So all you have to do now is, without touching the glass, screw that onto the end of your lens, and away you go to shoot by peeling off the lens cap. And then once you're done shooting for the day, you can just bang this back on and everything's protected, dust free. You're not going to get it bumped around in your camera bag, it's not going to get scratched or that kind of thing. And as well, with the bit that you screwed off at the very start, you can either chuck that in your bag, or, which I found out the other day, you can bang that on the front of the lens cap, so it's all together, not moving around in your bag, making noise. Everything's nice and secure, all in one place. And like I said, I just love the design. That is really good work. So on to the next features that I really like about this filter is the haptic feedback you get from going through from 2 stops to 5 stops. So as you go through, there's that feedback, it kind of clicks into place and you know that you've gone from 2 to 3 stops, and the same for the 4 and then to the 5. So you can really go through and you're not going to lose where you are on that spectrum. So I really do like that. And to go with that as well, you have around the edges, you've got almost like grips, so it's not completely smooth, which I really do like. I would maybe like a few more of them grips along the edge, but that's just me being really picky, and who's for me to say that they've designed this a little bit wrong, you know? Like I said before, the guys over there know what they're doing, so it's not really a con. I do really like it. It just means you get a bit more grip on it when you're spinning it around, and it's, like I say, that feedback is nice and responsive, and like you say, you're not going to lose where you are. So for the last few weeks I've been using this filter, and I haven't noticed any heavy vignetting at the maximum 5 stops or any real colour cast. I might see that more as I use it a bit more in the future, but for now I'm really impressed. And the other good thing about this filter is you're not going to get that crazy X kind of pattern across the screen when you are recording, because you've maxed out the variable ND, because as we all know, variable NDs are 2 polarizing filters sandwiched together, and when you push them too far you get this weird X kind of marking across the footage. But because it stops at 5, you're not going to get that. So it's a hard stop there, and that's it. You can't push it any further. So I'm really impressed with that. And for someone who is new to variable NDs, that's a really nice trait to have, because it would be very simple for me just to push it a bit too far, and then your footage is ruined because you won't be able to use it because you've got a weird X across your screen. So who is this filter actually for? In my opinion, any videographer who's want to step up the game, stop shooting at them high F numbers and get better depth of field, then as long as it's within your budget, I would definitely recommend this. It is a hefty price, I think £250-ish. I think it's the same in dollars. But at the end of the day, I've just bought a new lens for my kit, which is the RF15-35 2.8, which again is a pricey bit of kit, but if you're gonna get a really nice lens, why would you chuck a cheap filter on over the top of it? It just didn't seem right to me. So when I was looking at these budget-friendly options, there's plenty out there, and I'm not knocking them, I've never tried them, but I just felt like, well, if I've invested in the lens, I should invest in a really good filter to go on top of that. So again, that's just my opinion. It's not a sponsored video, just my opinion. And I think for videographers who want to step it up, this is not maybe a must-have, but it should be high up in your priority list. I haven't used this filter much for photography yet, but I imagine it'll be quite good for you shooting long exposures, so when I'm out hiking up in the fells, I'll be able to get some nice waterfall shots, I imagine, with this. But I'm not going to be using it that much, I don't think, for photography. It's going to be mainly for the video side of what I'm doing at the moment. It'll be on my RF15-35 Canon lens 90 to 95% of the time when I'm shooting video. Obviously when I'm in, for example, a gym that's really badly lit, I'm not going to be using it because I'm going to need as much light as possible getting into that lens, into the sensor. And like I say, it's not cheap at all, but it was an investment I was willing to make. So let me know in the comments below if you've bought this filter or the 6:9 stop version, and if you ran into any issues with it. I've only had it for about a month now, so there's been no cons that I can see at the moment, but over time they may develop and I might have to do kind of an updated video. But for now, really impressed. I'm so glad I finally pressed buy now. I waited long enough, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what I can make with this filter on this new lens. So if you like this video and it helped you in the decision making process to buy this, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, that'd be awesome, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.